I think healers are gonna be so much easier to play. Dude, like, if you're playing Sage and you use Carachol, you don't even really need to go to the middle of the arena and use Carachol anymore. Like, your range has quite literally doubled. I feel like the game became easier because of this change in general. Like, you don't have to worry about going to the middle, using Battle Litany, or going to certain areas to make sure everyone gets the buff. Like, you don't need to worry about that anymore. Because everyone and their mother is going to get the buff. Like, if we just look at Arcane right now, let's just use Arcane as an example. We're talking like, this is 15 yalms. We're talking about a buff that's 15 yalms, and it's going to be 30 yalms in 6.4. That is massive. If they made it 20 yalms, maybe I'd understand, right? They made the shit 30. And just for reference, like, even this is pretty large. They made it even larger. Like, it'll be interesting. I mean, it's a good change in a way because it'll be easier to hit stuff with for people, but it also makes things easier, and I don't know how I feel about that. Like, you don't have to worry about moving, especially in P6. Like, in top, you could just, you don't even really need to walk to the middle. You can just, like, kind of closer to the middle to receive the miss, but that shit's like 30 alms now, man. Like, imagine if Sage, not only Carachol, but also Helios, Tolos. Reduce damage taken, yeah, this is the thing. It's 15 yalms right now. Like, you have Carachol that's gonna be 30 yalms. You're gonna have Holos that's 30 yalms. Dude, it's gonna be so easy to give people mitigations and buffs. I feel like they're making the game easier and easier and easier as we keep going. I mean, it's kind of obvious, right? Like, they even removed pre-pull Doton, which was like a nice little thing you could do, right? Like, you could Doton and then stealth, and the Doton would stay, so you get some damage. I mean, it's a little thing, right? But still, it's like a thing not many people did, you know? Some people did it. The people that know, they used to do that, and they removed that. I don't think these changes are necessarily bad. I just think it's worth bringing up when we talk about skill expression. If we're going to talk about skill expression and you make these changes that make things easier, it's like, oh, I learned all this stuff for nothing. Obviously, I'm kind of exaggerating a little bit here because all we're really talking about here with Reaper and stuff is literally just yalm difference, right? But still, it's something. We're talking like double the range. And there's obviously the 120-second window you have. The even, what do you call it? The 120-second meta. I mean, I personally don't mind too much as long as Ninja's fun, okay? As long as Ninja's fun, I'm happy, I'm glad. But I also want this game to, you know, not be too easy. I don't think it is. It's very far from it. Yeah, I think it's very subjective. Yeah, some people might find that like it's a good change. I think it is a good change in general. I mean, it's literally a buff, right? But then there's, you know, the fact that it's PvE. It's not against other players. It's literally a boss. It's an NPC. So people want to fight the boss in a way that isn't easy, you know, because they want the challenge. Distance-based buffs. And just throw them on everyone, no matter the distance. Oh god, yeah, I don't think they'll ever do that. Then they would make range buffs completely worthless. No, if they do that, it's literally just button mashing. Even with 30 yalms, you don't even need to care about positioning, I feel. I mean, the range is just fucking ludicrous. And keep in mind, like, Shikuchi range is so high. Like, we're talking not only Shikuchi range. Let's like mark, right? This is A marker. And I'm standing on A marker. This is 20 yalms from A marker. 20. 15 yalms forward. So from here, we dash 15 forward. Look at that. This is A marker. Buddy. Look at this shit. It's literally fucking insane. We're talking 20 plus 15 yalms here. I did Shikuchi and I did a Reaper dash. I mean, we did 20 and 15, so that's 35, but still. You get me? Like, the range is fucking massive. Look at that range. From A marker to here. You're gonna tell me, like, most of the arenas in this game are that distance. Look, Arcane doesn't even, it only reaches like here. Yeah, this is a massive change. They couldn't have made it like 20 or something, or like, I just feel like 30 is crazy, man. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. 20, yeah, I feel like 20 is fair, you know? That's like Shikuchi range, basically. So like from A marker to here. That's fair. You know, you still have to move. I mean, if you're gonna buff the range of Arcane and stuff, right? If we are gonna go with the fact that it's gonna be buffed, going from 15 to 30 is insane. Insane. I think it's way too much. I'm fine with it. It's annoying when your party members won't group up for buffs. I mean, if they're not grouping up for buffs, that's their problem, right? I feel like, at the same time, I see what you're saying. Like, it makes it easier to give people buffs and mitts. But if you really think about it, like, you lose out on that skill expression. Where you don't have to, it's like, I don't have to move and give people Karachol because my range is fucking massive anyway. I just think the range is way too high. So like the Sage never has to go into the middle of the boss hitbox, use Helios, whatever, use Karachol, give people, and then go back. He never has to do that. It makes it easier to just give people mitts, and I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I don't think this change is good because I think the Yams is way too high, personally. If they made it 20, I'd understand. I think 30 is fucking absurd. Like, the range is just way too much. It's longer than Shikuchi. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind if they buff it to 20. I just think 30 takes pretty much all the arena. That there wouldn't be any movement required for people to receive buffs or mitts. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, if I don't have to move to give people mitts and buffs, it's just so easy. It's way too easy. Like, you never have to move because everyone's going to receive it by default. It just removes that part of the game, I feel. It's job-wide, by the way. Like, every job gets affected by this. That's the thing. Like, it's not just one job. So I think it's going to be massive for the game. I don't think even the devs understand just how big this is. I think it's actually the biggest thing ever. It is insane. What do you think if they remove positionals? I think that'd be really stupid because then True North would have no meaning. So if they remove that, they might as well remove True North. Remove positionals is like removing an aspect of melee that I consider to be fun. Wouldn't make sense. And it would also lean more towards making the game more easier, which is something that really trying to get away from. Like, there's a difference between accessibility and just making everything brain dead. I think it's good to do some changes to make things more accessible for every player, but those affect even the high-end players, right? Like 30 yalms, I think is too much across the board. 20 yalms, okay. 30? The range of Shikuchi is fine. This is good. This is good range for buffs. Very good. 15 is like a little bit lower, like somewhere here. 20 is good. When you make it 30, there's basically no movement required. Tank, increased party defense area effect 50 yalms. Yeah, that's fine, because it's an LB, right? We're talking like something that's going to happen, what, every, like barely. It's a tank LB3, it should be strong. I feel like this is fine. But when we're talking about something that's going to happen throughout the whole fight, it's a little different. Especially Karachol. Holy fuck. Karachol is literally 30 seconds cooldown. That's free 10% mitigation at 30 yalms. Like, we're talking like every 30 seconds. Alright, this is a massive comparison to like tank LB. Like, Karachol's gonna be fucking nuts. I think Sage is gonna be fucking nuts. They already have Holos and Kerachol. I think it makes it easier for them to have more type of mechanics. Open design space is good. Here's the thing, like, the fact that the mitigation lasts on a player for some time makes it so you can plan those things. Yes, I get it. The arenas are big nowadays. I feel like most bosses right now, their hitboxes are massive, right? Fucking huge hitboxes. Arenas are massive. But you can always plan stuff. Like, you can be like, okay guys, before we spread out, I'm gonna give you guys mitigation. Make sure we're stacked together for the range. You give them, and then you spread out for the mechanic. Look, like, it lasts for a while. You have these myths, right? They have time lingering. I feel like when you make it 30 yalms, there really doesn't need to be much planning, and that removes an aspect of team play that would normally be communicated between each other. But now that it's 30 yalms, it's basically not needed, because it's so fucking massive that it may as well fill the whole arena. I don't know. I don't think it's a good change. I think 20 is fair. I think 30 is too much. But anyway, that's just my opinion. I think many people would probably disagree with me on that. Overall, is it a good change? Yes, because it's a buff. It's going to help you no matter what. And there's less to think about. The cons behind it is that there's going to be less team play focus around mitigation range, because you never really have to think about it. You just need to think like, okay, I use this here, you use it there. And that's pretty much it. Anyway, I'm not like upset about this change or something. I feel like it just makes things slightly easier.